The group that we had, we were ready to lift that trophy.
The second you leave that tunnel and the second you touch the field, it's just total calmness. It's just total clarity. And
grand final, you walk out and half the crowd's in your colours. 80, 90,000 people. It's incredible.
It changes you as a person. It changes your life. I wanted the boys to feel that.
We were the favourites to going into that game, and we'd been there and we knew what was coming. You know, you had your fan day, you had your grand final breakfast, all that sort of stuff. So we knew what was coming. You know, the old adage, you got to lose one to win one. I think it's got to do with that.
Timing is an important thing. You know, you don't want to change too many things through the week. You know, you want to do everything the same. But obviously there's a lot more responsibilities thrown in.
You know, that you're doing interviews every day, and the grand final breakfast, that's something I'd never even heard of. And then they said, oh, you've got to go for breakfast on the Thursday before the game. And then I thought it was a bit strange, a bit bizarre, but I loved it.
Felt confident. It's obviously a really busy week and exciting week for the club and the fans. And I think the whole time during that week, there was a real, the focus came easy.
You know, if you don't soak that in and enjoy it, you can get frustrated by it. So that's one thing to conquer. And then obviously not playing the game in your head too early, getting that timing right so you're just perfect when the whistle goes and you're ready to go.
Your training preparation goes out the window. You've probably got 2 or 3 sessions and that's it. And yeah, so definitely going in, having that experience in 2000, yeah, it certainly helped.
Oh yeah, we didn't lack confidence in our ability, and the Warriors were difficult to play against because we were a little bit unpredictable.
Jones thought about kicking left. Jones goes through, passes to Lauatiti. First touch
If
on
they're
the
on,
football.
they are unstoppable.
The Warriors are a team, when they get a sniff and they know that they've got it over you, that's when they get those big scores.
We're physical, right? You always play them, you know you're going to get battered and bruised. And our style of football was to be, you know, rush defence and get into contests. So as a forward focus, our thing was to win that arm wrestle and that battle.
yeah, they had a run. They were a very good team. Mixed with, they had some really good experience, you know, in you know, obviously Ivan and Kevin Campion and those sorts of senior players, and then Lauatiti, Stacey Jones, some like iconic New Zealand rugby league figures. So that was a good team.
Huge offload team, so we were fit enough to sort of hopefully cover a lot of that play. Stacey Jones just had an element of unpredictability about him.
Villasanti was another one. He was their intimidator, of course, but I just remember our attentions being ours. Like it was just all towards us. If we do what we need to do, like take the opponent, they'll try and do what they want to do, but it's about what we'll do, and can they sustain our pressure? Can they sustain our defensive pressure? And can they, if we outwork and hold our gloves up, our blokes will take over.
And our style was unique to the players that were playing, and therefore you could prepare, but you couldn't prepare like you would for any other team.
And now they are in the grand final. 16-10, the final scoreboard. Warriors defeating Sharks 3 tries to 2.
I remember it was just a really long day out there at the hotel at Homebush, just hanging around, and you just want to get out there. You want to get it over and done with, and I can obviously game day for me was always a bit of a battle, like as in handling. I never really enjoy that feeling, but you know it's there for a reason and becomes normal for you.
There was a nice piece in the programme. You know, there was a list of English players who'd played in a grand final, and lost, and English players who played in a grand final and won. And there was only about half a dozen names on each list, so I knew I was joining an elite band, winning or losing. But I thought I want to get on that list. I want to get on the winning list.
I never had anything in my mind other than winning the game. That's for sure. I didn't every time if I felt that lack of confidence, I just looked around me because I had so many players that I knew had what it takes to get there.
And hello and welcome to all our friends around Australia through the Nine Network in New Zealand, through Sky Sports and TV3, BSkyB Europe, EMTV New Guinea. And
I think we're just in that mood. It was just tunnel vision on what we needed to do, what our job was. All the outside external stuff were just like a blur, you know what I mean?
So confident in that team, you know, just so confident. They were so willing and so tough. And
personally, I never looked back, and I thought that I just felt that we're a completely different team with a completely different focus, and we just needed to go out there and do what we did best and just stick to what we were doing, but just be sharp.
It was like that. This was our job. This is our time, and we've got to make sure that we put it together.
I remember the boys out warming up. It was about 2 or 3 minutes before they came back into the change rooms. I still remember just the excitement, and you can just you could tell with the body language of the players as they were walking back into the change rooms that we were ready.
It's an extreme pressure situation. You have two choices: you go walk towards it, or walk away. And
as a coach, you have to try and identify body language, confidence, belief. Because if it's not there, I've done something wrong in the lead up. But it was there. It was a wonderful moment seeing them come back into the change rooms being that proud of the fact that they were ready.
When you're deep in ANZ Stadium, you don't really hear it all. Not until you get down to the tunnel and you can see the lights at the end of the tunnel, and as you get closer and closer you start to hear the crowd. But then once you get out there and the fireworks go off and the crowd's roaring, that's a pretty special feeling. And the pressure as well is something that I guess makes a lot of people nervous, but I used to really look forward to it, because they're the moments that you train 11 months for, just to be there and have it all on the line, and there's no tomorrow and no walking away with feeling like you've left something out there. So yeah, can't beat it.
You could feel that the Rooster supporters were due, right? Everyone was ready. And we did a really good job getting a full bunch of young supporters into our club that certainly hadn't experienced a grand final win in so many years, and they all came out.
just that big game atmosphere, you know, like there's nothing better. Like by that time, like the long day and nerves, all that aside, the dressing sheds, all that anxiety or whatever, it's a real thing, and it's you know, it's on your mind. There's a weight with that, but the second you leave that tunnel and the second you touch the field, it's just total calmness. It's just total clarity, and well, that's how I've personally felt anyway. As soon as I got on the field, it just all gone. It just disappeared, just totally disappeared, and then it was just, you know, no one can save you then anyway. It's time to go.
Fitzgibbon starts the ground. We are underway. The Roosters running from right to left. And the New Zealanders through Tukey bring it away from the northern end. Here we are. Mark is up. First tackle of the night.
I can't ever remember our game plan changing from just kicking the ball down the other end. You know, like
Tukey making that tackle on Cusack. And then for Fittler, kicking on an early tackle. You'll see a lot of that.
Like I said, our asset was always that the boys were really tough and they were very fit. So we made sure we tackled better than we attacked.
The Warriors making a mistake down their own end of the park.
Just going into the game, really knowing what we had to do, and knowing that if we just kept doing it, we would come home strong. I remember the game was pretty tight for quite a period of time.
5 out, decides he'll have a go himself. And Hodges gets the ball away. Minichiello! Minichiello for the corner!
Does he force the ball? No. Doesn't even make the try line, so this will be a knock on.
We're knuckling down. It was a good game. It was obviously tight.
No score on the board in the big one. Now for Jones. And there's the corkscrew. The bounce has favoured the Roosters. And Phillips was with it, but it could have done anything, that kick. Now, a barnstorming, block-busting run by Fittler. 32 metres out from the line. Minichiello got a quick play the ball. Fletcher got in and away. Mullins goes for the accelerator. Mullins gets the ball inside. Shannon Hegarty. Hegarty will score. First points of the grand final. Scored by Shannon Hegarty off the back of a tremendous run by the captain.
It's been a while coming. The Roosters look like they might have scored from close range, but they've done it from the other end of the field.
Brought back by the Roosters from their in goal by Morley, and Morley brushing them away.
Let him up, John.
They go outside to Villasanti, and he's pulled down by Craig Wing. Quick play the ball, that will help, and it'll be a penalty. Cleary then. 2 from 4 last weekend. This is at close range, he gets it too. So the Warriors are on the board. It is 6 points to 2. Fifth and last is being called by Harrigan as it goes to the other kick, and it's Wing who puts it very, very high. And Cleary, oh! Was he in mid-air? Yes, he was. It is a penalty to the New Zealand Warriors.
Very interesting, this one, Ray. Boys getting a little bit restless out there, Michael Crocker.
But he reckons he's averaged over 100 stitches in his head per season he has played, which works out at about 1,200 stitches in his head over his career. He epitomises the nickname of the club, the Warriors.
Left, Jones to Lauatiti. Back for Jones! Jones gets it away to Melly. Melly comes in field. Melly gets the ball away. It is with Torpy. Torpy, he is tackled and in a touch. There's that Roosters defence for you. It could easily have been a try right on half-time.
Oh, big finish of the first half.
It was a really good start to a grand final. It was a matter of just regrouping and recomposing ourselves and having another 40 minutes of football. That's where it's won.
The last 2 minutes was so typical of the entire first half, an absorbing grand final with a scoreboard that reflects that as well. It is 6-2, the Roosters leading the Warriors at the break, and Peter and Paul will come back after that to have a look at the first half of the 2000.
Yeah, look, we went in the sheds at half-time, and I must admit, I think we were a bit stunned. I think we sort of were a bit, you could tell we were a bit, I don't know, I think a coach can see through a player. I reckon Ricky was talking, and I think we were all a bit, deer in the headlights. There was a period where John Cartwright stepped in and he grabbed the forward pack and said, get in this room here now. I said, sorry, Ricky, I have to do this, right? Because it's now or never.
Cardi and Dean Pay took us away.
He put us in this little space, slammed the door and just was like, this is a grand final. You're about to F this up.
Boys, they're not going to help you. The backs aren't going to help you to win this, so you're going to have to aim up here because it can go either way.
If you don't do something soon, this will run away from you and you lose the grand final, and it is a horrible feeling. A few guys have experienced it. John had experienced it. He said, this will be complete stuff up if you don't do this. And I remember looking around the room going, he's right, we'll just get your breath back, and we had to get out there and just gather our momentum back, right? And
I was bouncing in the changing rooms, ready for the second half, but yeah, it was a feeling of confidence, I think, and that we can actually go all the way.
Sydney Roosters over the New Zealand Warriors. Brad Fittler takes his men back out for the second half of the battle. Hasn't it been a battle? There's been some pulverising defence. There's been some chances that have been put down by both teams.
We were confident in our ability because it was happening through that 9-week winning streak where second half, the other team just fell away. And that wasn't just because they were playing bad, it was because of what we did to them and how our defence sort of rushed them and bustled them out of the game and made them make mistakes and made them retreat. So it was just business as usual.
Jones to go to the boot, and he's kicked it right across to Minichiello's wing, and Minichiello, that is magnificent from Anthony Minichiello. Now he's made a run of 20 metres, make that 30 metres almost.
Yeah, it was the Stacey Jones. Obviously, we had to watch Stacey.
I remember Stacey scoring.
No one will forget Stacey Jones's try. It's one of probably the best grand final tries in history.
Basically the message, up the tempo in the second half, quicker play the balls. And from Daniel Anderson, it was a bit like his halftime address last week against the Sharks. Just a little more composure. We play out the 80 minutes. We're good enough. We can win this grand final.
Marsh combining with Jones after CU gave them an opportunity. Here's Jones in his space. Jones is inside the 10. Jones scores. New Zealand are level. New Zealand are level. This wonderful halfback, Stacey Jones, has opened them up after CU had provided the opportunity.
Here's a wizard, Stacey Jones.
I think I got hooked after that. I think I was on the field when it happened.
It was a wonderful try, a wonderful individual try from a very, very talented football player. But we had to regroup there and then, and that's where you rely upon your players. That's where you rely upon all your scenario training you've done over many, many months. That's where you rely upon you physically being able to handle the situation and then dealing with it and executing.
Yeah, emotionally, sometimes you need that, just to pull your finger out and start playing. And maybe sometimes you play within yourself and you're waiting for the result to happen, and then things opened up after that.
Tell you what, don't worry about just Kiwis. He can stand alongside some of the modern greats of the game. He's a champion, Stacey Jones. Now it's up to another champion, Brad Fittler, to lead his team back.
I noticed that Ricky Stewart has left the grandstand, gone down to the bench. So pressure getting to Ricky. He wants to be on hand with his players.
Cleary to the 20-metre line. Not held, allowed to get up and go again. Flannery's made the tackle. There's one of the Roosters down injured. And it looks like Craig Wing. He's gone in badly, I would suggest to you, in a tackle. Got his head in the wrong place.
For a long time afterwards, I couldn't remember much of the game. I pretty much didn't really completely come to until we got back to the clubhouse when we were on the double-decker bus. But over time, and I've watched the game a couple of times, snippets of memory come back.
Still no panic. Because we'd had that run of, the 8 previous wins, you just sort of, and I knew we were going to win. I know it sounds, now it's easy to say, but there wasn't any panic. No, Freddie and Wingy were controlling the game pretty well. The kicking game of Freddie, I remember especially, was very good that night.
Either somebody's done some improving or the other one has gone backwards. And we can't say that about the Roosters because their form has been impeccable over the last couple of months.
40-20 here, Ray.
Beautiful kick.
Yeah, this might be the match turner. This is what they needed. They need someone to lift, someone to do something special. And Brad Fittler has provided once again. It's a fantastic kick. Low, driving hard into the corner. And they were no match.
And that was a turning point in the game where we started to just put the pressure on.
We hit a 40-20 and Wingy scored.
Crocker again. Fittler goes from the left side, works over to the right side. Here's Craig Wing, and Craig Wing is in to score.
It was a very, very special moment for me to score a try in the grand final, running off my half partner, Freddie Fittler, in a move that we rehearsed and just went like clockwork. We planned that, we talked about it, we did it at that part of the field, and I was going up against Ivan Cleary and he moved the way that Ricky said he was going to move, and Freddie came across and I went through the hole that I was supposed to go through. That was a bit of autopilot for me because I got knocked out before that. I don't even really remember doing it, it just happened, but I remember we trained that.
It was kind of just that that moment, everyone, it's not a secret that the head clash shifted the momentum.
Plays it back for Crocker again, and this time to the boot of Brad. Oh! Fittler! Oh! He's been taken a couple of times. Fittler's bleeding from a gash above the left eye.
He has been hammered by Corpu.
I think momentarily I sort of whatever. I was knocked out or whatever it was. But it came around. I remember Craig Walker, the trainer, being there. He goes, "You all right?" I said, "I was ready to play the ball," and so that was it. There was never a question. I was in no state to go off the field. I'm not sure how it would go these days, but I was never going off the field. And
that was probably the key turning point in the game. No one saw it coming. No one told him to do it. But it happened, and it probably fired up a few of the Roosters who weren't really in the game at their highest level, even at that point. But after that, we sort of got poleaxed.
Saw it on the field, and we sort of missed it, but then they showed it on the replay. And then the crowd went, "Oh," and then Mozza just...
It was a bit of a cheap shot, really, wasn't it? But the fact that he'd done foul play on our captain didn't sit well with me or the rest of the team. So I think that was the green light, really. Then we have to stand up here and take it to him.
We had a bit of a thing with particularly Freddie, right? Over the years, you protect your best player, and we just had this thing with Ricky, right? It was like, you can protect your brothers, protect your mates. And he was very open about responding to foul play, Ricky.
I looked to see who was going to react. I looked to see who was going to be the man. That brought us together. That gave us the resolve and the steel at the back end of that game to win it.
I think the opposition saw that in us as well. It was like, we poked the bear a bit here, and I felt that we just had that bit of rage in us for a period of time, and it was response time, right? And you didn't have to tell Moz twice.
Mozza didn't say too much, but he said something to the lines of, next time he gets the ball, we're going to cave his head in.
Oh, Villasanti! Really shook up by Morley.
Freddie's our leader, right? And he wore one, and Adrian took it upon himself. And I think there was a line of blokes coming for him, but Adrian got there first.
He was the man, Moz. Most placid guy off the field, but get him on the field and he was the most aggressive forward, most feared forward ever.
The season had been building towards a grand final, and that grand final had been building, and that was probably the pinnacle. You're right. All the training sessions, all the pre-seasons, all the team bonding. It all come together then, and we was solid then. It was a great moment, not for Freddie obviously, but it was a great moment for us that it really did spur us on, really. I mean, no one said anything. The forwards, we all looked at each other, but it was a sort of feeling, right? He's took our captain out, our half back, and we need to step up here. He might have thought he was doing the right thing, but it worked the opposite, really. That it gave us more of a boost.
That wasn't uncommon. Adrian, he was the protector. Adrian, in his humble way, has a unique toughness about him. And in many years of my coaching, he's probably one of the toughest guys that I've had the pleasure to coach. When I saw Brad go down, I was looking for that reaction and got it.
Here is Villasanti, and they're hitting him and hitting him hard, jolting the ball free.
There's not so many moments that can completely shift momentum, but when they happen, you definitely feel it when you trust your team. So that's just a clear sign to right, we've got to go now.
My pride went through the roof, though, when everybody jumped on board when Morley came out and smashed Villasanti. That was there and then. That's what we were building. To get that camaraderie and the ability of having the mental strength of no one's going to take this off us now.
Ricketson standing off to the left, Fittler off to the right. Fittler is with the ball, puts a little kick in. Jones is there. Can Jones get the ball back? Jones is tackled in goal. They will get another set.
Well, the chase originally wasn't that urgent, and when Stacey Jones got the football, you expected 3 or 4.
Yeah, sometimes you may really need to kick along every now and then just to sort of, take yourself from playing comfortably to, giving everything. And
Ricketson straightens. Can't pop the pass. Yes, he can now to Minichiello.
Minichiello going across, ran round behind Fitzgibbon, looking for his winger on the far side. Play back for Shannon Hegarty. There's a chance for Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon must be horribly close. Bill Harrigan wants to look at the video.
Hardly spectacular. It was just think it was. I'm not sure he played the ball really close to the try line and look just a little bit of space really and just ran onto the ball. Obviously the quickest route to the try line's right in front of you, so worked out all right. Wouldn't have been very popular if it didn't, I don't think, because would have had some halves on the other side of me screaming for the ball. So always the thrill, get a try in a grand final. It's a huge thrill.
The dummy half and through the nice little short pass to Fitzgibbon into a hole. There's the green light.
It is a try. Ricky Stewart, his first year of senior coaching.
Again, not to be flippant with it, I just never assumed, I felt like we were going to win. Nothing was going to be acceptable other than winning the game. So we had plenty of time left. It was early in the second half. We were just never going to stop. And so I felt like we were going to win the whole game. Yeah.
The 10-metre line. Mullins for Fittler, and Fittler puts a kick in. He had to hurry it. Flannery scores! Flannery dives on the loose ball. There'll be a question mark about offside. You wouldn't think there's any...
And you just feel a bit of luck was coming with us. And then scored a few tries. I think Flano picked up a grubber where it just didn't seem to be a warrior player. And yeah, I think by the end of it, I think they were deflating, and we started to have a bit of fun towards the end, I think.
That's 80 minutes, that's the game. Roosters were better over 80. We were very, very good over 60, but they were better over 80. Obviously, Freddie was super, he was just a gun.
And win, lose or draw for either of the coaches tonight. They've had magnificent seasons. As Fittler almost through again, can't find the support player. Gets up, makes another couple of metres. Coaches tonight, they're the new breed coming through.
So a penalty, fighting for dummy half. Bonetti to Flannery, Flannery to Ricketson, Ricketson to Fletcher. Fletcher puts the arm up and he goes over! Fletcher scores! Now it's one-way traffic. The Roosters are now dominating the Warriors.
No, it wasn't a planned move. I'd love to be able to say it was a planned move, but it just happened to be there at the right time. Because Rico doesn't usually pass. Rico could be what's known as a hog. Beautiful looking hog, beautiful looking man.
Fletchy, was thinking of taking the line out, but saw this big bears-headed looking bloke, which called everything, by the way. Fletch, thought he was a halfback. Threw him the pill, and he ran at Stacey Jones, which is probably someone he'd like to run at often. So pretty unstoppable from there, and that was awesome. Jumping on him, and the team came. We probably knew it was all done from there, obviously.
But Rico, for some reason, decided to pass the ball back to me, and thank God he did. Last try scorer. Get that into you.
Yeah, let the good times roll from there on. The good thing with Fletch is, all of his mates growing up are my mates as well, and we both had such support from all our local Bondi and mates from around the area, and funny, right? Funny times. It's even funnier because, seeing Fletch on the big screen scoring the try and me sort of hugging him on the way back, and on the victory lap we saw all our mates out there as well, and it was good for them to be a part of as much as Fletch and I, and never forget that memory.
It's so much relief, and that's all it is really, is relief at the end. It's just, obviously the expectation, I'd been there for quite a while now, gone there it was sort of my job really.
The iconic moment that stands out to me is Freddie walking back with the taped head and bleeding, blood coming out of the thing. He's got the hands in the air, and he's walking about. That's probably the most, and I don't know how I saw that. I think I was kicking the goal, so I don't even know how I saw that, but that moment, that's an iconic moment in my mind.
So I knew the game was won, and but I went over to Ricky Stewart just to congratulate him, but he's like, no, don't want to shake hands till after the final whistle, which I thought was nice, really. You know, that he thought, the job's not done yet.
I remember packing in the scrum with Fitzy with about the 78th minute, and Fitzy goes, "We're going to win the Premiership here. We've won." And we're squeezing each other in the back row, like giggling like schoolgirls.
Yeah, like I don't know how long to go in the game that might have been, but there's a point where there's just not enough time, and I don't think it would have been disrespectful enough to say that unless it was at that time.
Don't kick it, don't kick it!
I can't remember who I spoke to when the final whistle went, but yeah, it was such a good feeling. Such a good feeling.
Whatever was going to happen, I was just going to empty the tank and not stop going and going and going until that whistle went. Relief, it is over and we got it done, is really clear. And
Really, really tough to describe, but obviously elation and a bit of relief as well, really. It would have been a nightmare getting to the grand final and not getting the win. So a bit of relief that we'd actually won the thing. It'll stay with me for life, but it's hard to put into words, really. It was amazing.
There's footage of me. I end up running over to Ricky. Ricky runs on the field. I was close to him, and I think he picked me up. I did, yeah. He picked me up, and it was a really surreal moment because I knew that this young coach had taken such a punt to come to a club that hadn't had success. He was in a position where he just said, "I'm going to do a couple of things for your club," and he executed it in 1 year. I think he was a bit in shock. I remember there was no expression on his face. I remember he knew he did something pretty special, and I was just buzzing because it was won a grand final and beyond a dream for me. As I said, I was just happy to play under 21s, but being a local junior and representing the Roosters and getting a grand final and finally get that 1975 footage off the big screen, which was something we always planned to do.
The thing about winning a grand final is it's not an individual thing. There's nothing individual about it. It's 11 months of hard work. 11 months of hard work, discipline, commitment, sacrifice, and no matter how many ways you look at it, there's an element of luck to have your players on the field at the big dance on the final game. So for it all to come together is the pinnacle, I guess.
Seeing Nick was so emotional. I'd never seen that before. I'd seen him get emotional at me, but for other reasons. But he was so happy, the smile on his face.
And as I said, winning a grand final changes your life. Having those players now, and I know it makes you a closer group of people. Having those players now being premiers gave me such satisfaction, and on the other hand, relief. Relief the fact that, you wipe the brow and you think, wow, a lot of hard work into winning one game of football and we've achieved it. You look back at some of those senior players You know, Brian Fletcher's always looked upon as one of the characters, but he builds strength amongst people. Morley's unique toughness. You know, the class of Fittler. There's a number of players that I could mention, but I won't go on, but they built a team there.
Forever grateful for everyone involved and forever grateful to win a premiership. I'll love those guys and everyone involved forever. You know, you don't lose those moments.
Fitzgibbon, this year's Clive Churchill Medal winner.
I remember the lap of honour, it was just the fans, you know, just hugging the fans. It was just unbelievable.
It's truly something that no one ever takes from you, and it's everything in a career. I mean, to achieve that, there was football, but there was also social, and there's like long-term friendships. So for me, we couldn't have asked for more in a year of football, so it's great.
It was a perfect year. It was a year where we all got along so well. Like, you get along with footy teams, but this was a special, very hard to get a team that it all just works together.
Everyone got on very well. It was a really good group to be around. So to turn that into winning is just a really nice way to show respect to each other. And that's what we did.
Awesome.
Cool.
Fantastic to see so many of the boys turn up for our 20-year reunion, and yeah, look, it's like there hasn't been too many years in between. It's you know, just goes back to the good old times. So yeah, a few stories will be told, I'm sure, later on today, and a few beers. But yeah, it's all it's great to see everyone.
Oh, it's so good to be back and just see the faces around. You know, obviously it's a long journey when you play through a full season, and then to win a comp, you form a special bond.
It's like yesterday, really. 20 years, it doesn't seem like that long, but you walk back in and it feels like yesterday because we've spent so much time and had so much success together. It's great being back.
Some of the boys I haven't seen for nearly 10 years since our last reunion, so we built some really strong relationships over those years when I was here at the Roosters. So yeah, it's so good to see them and catch up and spend some time with them again.
I think over time you realise the big achievement of it all, because how hard it is to win one, and also some of the players that I've actually played with, like Freddie and all that. You sort of pinch yourself thinking, yeah, I was part of that team.
It's good to see everyone and just to see where they're at. I guess we were all 20 years ago. A lot of us were single, and just touching base and seeing where we're at now. You know, a lot of us have got families now, and yeah, just seeing where we're posted up in Australia or overseas like Moz.
We had a goal, and that was to win the comp and be successful, and we had a great coach in Ricky as well. So this was really an unbelievable friendship that we all had.
Who knew it was 20 years ago? Like, just looking at the young boys that are out here now, the current NRL players, and most of them were babies when we were running around winning these grand finals. So no, it's very special of the club to reach out and bring us all back together. So no, we really appreciate it and loving our time together.
It's a great club, and you know we're all very proud to have worn the jersey, and it's fantastic to that the club still honours their past players.
It's just a great club. The fans are great. The players are real supportive, and we dug deep and we got through.
It was just so tough. Everyone was so tough and fit, and it was a great year to be involved with.
Loved every minute, of every day here at the Roosters. So it was one of my, I put it down as one of my happiest years due to the fact where I put a lot of work in, and to come out with a grand final win, just icing on the cake. I dare say by the end of tonight, a few more memories will be made, I'd say.
It all floods back pretty quickly. I know it's been 20 years, but it feels like yesterday.
Just reminiscing about a pretty special moment that obviously changed a lot of our lives. So we trained hard, we played hard, and we had a lot of fun off the field. So the combination was perfect at the time, and it worked out for the best, mate, back into the year.
Makes me really miss it times like this, but getting back here with all the boys, it's pretty special. As soon as we got into the same room, it's like we saw each other yesterday, and that, to have a bond like that, it's that's what you get when you win a grand final.
Immediately from the scrum here, the Roosters. Tedesco holds it up, catch and pass, Tupou in the corner. Yeah, Keary hangs it up. Off the wing, Martini Zalesniak stayed grounded and coughed it up. Try coming up here for Kevin Nangama. Short side again. Walker spinning his way through it. He got it down. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was good strength shown by the young fella there, Sam Walker.
We knew we were playing in this jersey about a few weeks ago, and I was so keen to play. And there's a couple of legends, or pretty much every single one of them are legends of the game, and in that 2002 side. And we had a little lunch with them yesterday, and you just see, some people haven't seen each other in 10 years, but it just means so much to them. And to be able to play on today and to get the win for them as well. And I'm sure they're enjoying a few beers right now, but it was good to get the win.
Yeah, mate, we always hear about that team. They broke the drought. Legends of the game. Part of that team. It was special. We had lunch with them yesterday. It was really special to meet them all. It was. Hopefully we did them a little bit proud today.